unsurprisingly, with one of the most notable examples being French President François Mitterrand, who, of course, covered for Mao during one of his visits to China. We can pick this up from the New Statesman, which had a article, Mao's Great Famine, the History of China's Most Devastating Catastrophe, 1958 to 1962, which starts by saying, when François Mitterrand visited China in 1961, Mao Zedong mocked reports of famine in the country. There was no famine, he said, only a period of scarcity, an assertion that Mitterrand, who described Mao as a great scholar known in the entire world for the diversity of his genius, was happy to accept. Returning to France after his 3-week tour, Mitterrand had no doubts about his account of events. I repeat, in order to be clearly understood, there is no famine in China. Western politicians of the right shared the French socialist leader's view. After touring China in late 1960, the conservative MP for Chester, John Temple, reported that communism was working and that the country was making great progress. And as disgusting as that was, of course, another very famous, or what should be very infamous example of a influential Western figure backing that disgusting display that we saw under the reign of Mao was, of course, the 1973 New York Times editorial by none other than David Rockefeller under the title From a China Traveler, in which I think he infamously said, "The social experiment in China under Chairman Mao's leadership is one of the most important and successful in human history." Again, comparing that type of rhetoric to the actual actions of Mao and what was accomplished under his leadership is, well, quite the disparity. And one might ask why that would take place. But I would like to draw people's attention to a different part of that editorial, one that is much less cited, in which Rockefeller writes, "The Chinese, for their part, are faced with altering a primarily inward focus that they have pursued for a quarter century under their current leadership. We, for our part, are faced with the realization that we have largely ignored a country with 1/4 of the world's population. When one considers the profound differences in our cultural heritages and our social and economic systems, this is certain to be a long task with much accommodation necessary on both sides."